I've started to wrestle with. It's not. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see without my glasses. But there it is. Probably showing up backwards, but markings. Dag Hammarskjöld. I'm not on solid ground. Not even. Not even by a mile. Uh, my only real experience with aphorisms is uh, Friedrich Nietzsche. And with Nietzsche, of course, there's commentary everywhere. Everyone has something to say uh, about Nietzsche, no matter how absurd or not absurd it is. It's one of those guys. So you can hit an aphorism and get a number of ways to look at it. Um, Here, Hammarskjöld does not occupy a position like that in terms of interpretation. Um, so I just have me to go with. Um, Now I've been trying to think about it because I hate this. I hate this so far. So far, I hate markings. Um, I hate it because I'm built wrong for it. So I've got to do some work. I've got to do a fair amount of work actually. Um, Set it aside for a second because there's a so we're in a WH audit. Wrote the introduction. I read the introduction. I read the foreword. All that. Usually I skip those things, but since since this is something that falls into the curation of the library, um, it's coming from my mom. Uh, so it's important for me. She was there. She was in the foreword. She read Auden's contribution to this, so I needed to read it too. Um, Now, right at the beginning, but it's such a slog for me that I thought I'd better. This is going to be one of those things where maybe it's a multi-part, multi-year contribution to the library. Um, but I decided to look back a little bit into my past to see how I can maybe handle this book. Um, what I have to do, despite the fact that I hate this thing, it hasn't taken long for me to hate it. It's almost instantaneous. Um, I gotta keep track of where I'm going. Back in college, I learned to throw some pottery, marginally at best, but I really, really loved it. And we were sitting in class, and Dr. Pivovar, my prof, um, he's he would talk about pottery in general before we would go do something. He'd show us something, um, show us a technique. But he would also talk about the cultural impact or something. And of course, we could share, we could talk. This kid brought in a mug, and it was essentially a joke because it was Pivovar's mug that the student's grandmother was selling at a yard sale. So we got to watch this man cope with the fact that he threw a piece, he sold a piece, but now it's just showing up on some ratty table with a picnic covering on it for 50 cents or something. I mean, it had to be a shock to his system, you know. But I hated the mug that the kid brought in. I thought this is stupid. It's simple. It's oversimplistic. It's not. You know, why would you buy that? Do I hate it? I was sitting there. I hate it. And this, I bought this. This is essentially, it's just a different version of that mug. Um, and the thing that bothered me about it was this fluted shape. I thought, look how over simple that shape is. You know, in fact, outside the window, the Homer City power plant, and there are two towers, I believe two, there might be three, that look like this. Not as symmetrical. Uh, they're a little bigger at the bottom than at the top. Um, when I consider a logo for the pipe end of my interest, I think about the garbage man piper. You know, garbage can in the form of a pipe. Obviously, one of these in the form, well, not the mug, but one of the towers, cooling towers in the form in the form of a pipe. Something I play with, you know. But so here's this shape. I grew up looking at it out of the corner of my eye, breathing whatever it is they pump out into the atmosphere, and I was not predisposed to think that that was a particularly good piece of pottery. Um, just as an aside, the the handle, the handle, I never questioned. I always thought the handles were beautiful. The philosophy behind the handle is to pin your fingers against the mug. It gives you all kinds of really great control. You know, there's no thumb lock on this, but you don't need it. And I always thought this was a perfect example of not thinking it through. Because the only thing I drink out of these is tea. And that right there is agony. I actually have to back off and hold it more like this just to get off the mug. It's so hot. But anyway, I don't know why I had the insight at at the time because I was stupid. But I thought, okay, I'll throw it. I'll throw this mug and then I'll prove to myself that it's a simpleton's mug as far as throwing is concerned, not so much as far as drinking is concerned. And I threw for the rest of the semester and never threw this shape. I got close. Might have accidentally thrown it once and it collapsed. I don't know. Um, I couldn't throw it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get the if I could get close on the shape, I couldn't get a balanced handle. If I had a perfect handle, shape was wonky, big in the bottom, or I don't know, too tall. Took 10 pounds worth of clay, you know, to throw a tiny mug, you know, something like that. I couldn't do it, and so it did not take long before I loved this shape. A 180-degree turn emotionally. Um, but I had to struggle with it first. I had to try and recreate it to know, one, how delicate a shape it is, and two, just how good my prof was. Because I mean, thinking the way I thought with respect to the mug wasn't overly respectful of him. I disrespected him more than the shape of the mug. Um, so here I sit with Hammarskjöld, a book, um, not trying to write it, just trying to understand where my mom was, and so clearly I'm going to have to struggle with it. Just to dismiss it out of hand is to not only disrespect Hammarskjöld, um, but to disrespect my mom the way I disrespected my prof with that particular attitude. And so I'm gonna struggle with this book. It's gonna be slow, you know. Um, to give an example, I guess you see, I read something like this: "Isn't the void which surrounds you when the noise ceases your just reward for a day devoted to preventing others from neglecting you?" I can't. I'm pretty sure that's negative. Pretty sure that's criticism you got to pick up on. You went through your day and you focused on yourself. Uh, you wanted everybody around you to focus on you. Um, everyone's pretty tired of you by then, and are off watching TV or just basically being anywhere where you're not. So, when I first read it, I'm like, oh, the hell, you know? So I think that's, so he stakes it. It's a curveball, right? I mean, it starts out here and comes back if you're not careful. Um, yeah, openness to life grants a lightning swift insight into the life situation of others. What is necessary? To wrestle with your problem until its emotional discomfort is clearly conceived in an intellectual form, and then act accordingly. It's simple now that I kind of read it, but I've read this. I read this about 5 times. Um, it's the form. The form is what gets me. So, and there's a lot of it there, and of course, this is what's left to go. So I start to feel a little bit like I'm climbing a hill. Those two aphorisms are ones that were marked, by the way. I have no interest to. It's not about how it affects me. The affirmations that affect me. It's about where my mom was. She marked those two things. So back when she read this or when she received it, I'm pretty sure early on I said that she got it in 1964, but when I checked the date, it's November of '64, and November is my mom's birthday month. So I'm pretty sure my dad gave this to her. I haven't asked yet. Part of the fun of this is try to understand it, and then when I talk to her, see how much of it, I, how much of it I figured out. Was this a gift? You know, um, she'd still date it like that if it wasn't. But my guess is that that's what it is. At any rate, those fall into the middle years, the 1941-42. Um, so I'm going to keep wrestling with this and think about it, and then I'll attack it again on video. All right. Well, you guys have a nice evening, daytime, nighttime, whatever you happen to be facing. Um, Shout out to all the guys in Ireland and anywhere else over there that are responding to what I'm doing here a little bit. All right. You guys have a good day. Bye bye.